Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodhana Nandana Braja Jana Rajana. Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Rajana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Rama Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Rama Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Rajana. Yashodhanandana Braja Jana Rajana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha Madhav. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Radha Madhava ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayak. Before reciting the Before reciting the Srimad, okay, Bhagavati Samashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasa Devi, author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of God, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Irrevocable fact, that love of God. Okay, thank you all for coming to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. I'm really excited. This is my first one in a long time that I've been able to offer to the devotees. So thank you for being here. Please be patient. And yeah, I'm gonna try my best to share something that maybe will affect your hearts in the way that it affected mine. Today we're gonna study Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9. We're going to read verses 14 through 26, and then we'll really focus in on verse 23. So we can all take turns reading, try to be fluent in our passing of the mics.
Let me offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Transcendence, who is eternally distinguished by his internal potency. His indistinguishable, impersonal feature is realized by intelligence or self-realization. I offer my obeisances unto him, who by his pastimes enjoys the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation.
Let me take shelter of the lotus feet of him whose incarnations, qualities, and activities are mysterious imitations of worldly affairs. One who invokes his transcendental names, even unconsciously at the time he quits this life, is certainly washed immediately of the sins of many, many births, and attains him without fail.
Your Lordship is the prime root of the tree of planetary systems. This tree has grown by first penetrating the material nature in 3 trunks, as me, Shiva, and you, the Almighty, for creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And we 3 have grown with many branches. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you, the tree of the cosmic manifestation.
What beautiful prayers Lord Brahma is sharing with us.
People in general all engage in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto him who acts as eternal time.
Your Lordship, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you for indefatigable time, and the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Although I am situated in an abode which will continue to exist for a time duration up to Paradas, although I am the leader of all other planets in the universe, and although I have undergone many, many years of penance for self-realization, I still offer my respects to you.
O my Lord, by your own will, you appear in the various species of living entities, among animals lower than human beings, as well as among the demigods, to perform your transcendental pastimes. You are not affected by material contamination. You come just to fulfill the obligations of your own principles of religion, and therefore, O Supreme Personality, I offer my obeisances unto you for manifesting such different forms.
My Lord, you accept the pleasure of sleeping in the water of devastation, where there are violent waves, and you enjoy pleasure on the bed of snakes, showing the happiness of your sleep to the intelligent persons. At that time, all the universal planets are stationed within your abdomen.
O object of my worship, I am born from the house of your lotus navel for the purpose of creating the universe by your mercy. All these planets of the universe were stationed within your transcendental abdomen while you were enjoying sleep. Now, your sleep having ended, your eyes are open like blossoming lotuses in the morning.
Let the Supreme Lord be merciful towards me. He is the one friend and soul of all living entities in the world, and he maintains all for the unlimited happiness. By his six transcendental opulences, may he be merciful towards me so that I, as before, may be empowered with the introspection to create, for I am also one of the surrendered souls who are dear to the Lord.
The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is always the benefactor of the surrendered soul. His activities are always enacted through his internal potency, Rama, or the goddess of fortune. I pray only to engage in his service in the creation of the material world, and I pray that I not be materially affected by my works, for thus I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator.
The Lord's potencies are innumerable as he lies down in the water of devastation. I am born as the total universal energy from the navel lake in which the lotus sprouts. I am now engaged in manifesting his diverse energies in the form of the cosmic manifestation. I therefore pray that in the course of my material activities, I may not be deviated from the vibration of the Vedic energies.
Two more.
The Lord who is supreme and is the oldest of all is ultimately merciful. I wish that he may smilingly bestow his benediction upon me by opening his lotus eyes. He can uplift the entire cosmic creation and remove our dejection by kindly speaking in his judgments.
The sage Maitreya said, O Vidura, after observing the source of his appearance, namely the personality of Godhead, Brahma prayed for his mercy as far as his mind and words would permit him. Thus, having prayed, he became silent, as if tired from his activities of penance, knowledge, and mental concentration.
Haribol. Thank you everyone for reading. I wanted to point out verse 17 is so powerful to me. People in general all engage in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. And their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces by eternal time. So that's kind of the crux of this class is how to engage in activities for Krishna, and that's the opposite. That's like, if you're not engaging in your activities for Krishna, then it's just going to be cut to pieces by eternal time. So now we'll get into verse 23. Okay. Esha prabhana varadora mayatma shaktya. Esha prabhana varado ramayatma shakta. Yata karishyati grihita gunavatara. Yat karishyati grihita gunavatara. Tasmin svavikramamidam srijato picheto. Tasmin svavikramamidam srijato picheto. Yunjita karma shamalam jayata vijayam. 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 Esha prabha Varadora Mayatma Shaktya. Isha Pravana Varadora Mayatma Shaktya. Yad Yad Karishyati Grihita Gunavataraha. Yad Yad Karishyati Grihita Gunavataraha. Tasmin Swavikramamidam Srijata Picheta. Tasmin Swavikramamidam Srijata Picheta. Yunjita Karma Shamalam Jayata Vijayam. Yunjita Karma Shamalam Jayata Vijayam. Please chant. Isha Prabhana Varadora Mayatma Shakta. Yad Yad Karishyati Grihita Gunavataraha. Tasmin Swavikramamidam Srijato Picheto. Yunjita karma shamalam jayata vijayam.
Isha Pravana Varadora Mayatma Jayati Karishyati Grito Guna Avatara. Tasmin Swavikramamidam Sarjato Picheto.
Tasmin Swavikramamidam Srijato Picheta.
Yujita Karma Shamalam Yayata Vijayam.
Yunjita karma shamalam jayata vijayam.
Esa Prabhana Varado Ramayatma Shakya.
Esha prapana varato ramayatma shaktya. Yad yad karishyati grihita gunavatara. Tasmin swavikramamidam srijato picheto. Yunjita karma shamalam jayata vijayam. Alright, we're gonna go into the word for word together. Esha, this. Prapana, one who is surrendered. Bharata, benefactor. Ramaya, it was joined with the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. Atma Shakya, with his internal potency. Yat Yat, whatever. Karishyati, he may act. Grihita, accepting. Gunavatara, incarnation of the mode of goodness. Tasmin, unto him. Swavikramam, with omnipotency. Idam, this cosmic manifestation. Srijata, creating. Api, in spite of. Cheta, heart. Yunjita, be engaged. Karma, work. Shamalam, material affection. Cha, also. Yata, as much as. Vijayam, I can give up. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is always the benefactor of the surrendered souls. His activities are always enacted through his internal potency, Rama, or the goddess of fortune. I pray only to engage in his service in the creation of the material world. And I pray that I not be materially affected by my works, for thus I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. Purport. In the matter of material creation, maintenance, and destruction, there are three incarnations of the material modes of nature: Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara or Shiva. But the Lord's incarnation as Vishnu and his internal potency is the supreme energy for the total activities. Brahma, who is only an assistant in the modes of creation, wanted to remain in his actual position as an instrument of the Lord, instead of becoming puffed up by the false prestige of thinking himself the creator. That is the way of becoming dear to the Supreme Lord and receiving his benediction. Foolish men want to take credit for all creations made by them, but intelligent persons know very well that not a blade of grass can move without the will of the Lord. Thus, all the credit for the wonderful creations must go to him. By spiritual consciousness only can one be free from the contamination of material affection and receive the benedictions offered by the Lord. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravan Pracharine Nirvishesha Shinyavari Paschatare Shatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. And again, I just want to welcome your mercy towards me and your blessings that this class can be edifying and enlivening and mean something to everybody. So first I'll start off with this concept of the creator, the maintainer, and the annihilator, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. Creation happens with passion. We need some passion to start something, to create something. You have to have some drive. Passion in our Krishna ISKCON society has become kind of like a dirty word, like, oh, she's passionate, oh, he's passionate. It's kind of like too passionate, I'm too passionate for Prabhu. But it's a requirement for starting things, actually. We have to have some passion. You know, in the material world, it's like drive. It's like what motivates you to do anything. I'm passionate about poetry. I'm passionate about health. I'm passionate about this and this and this. And so we can act through that passion. So it's very necessary. And it lasts a short while, that passion, when we're initially getting something started. It's a brief introduction. And then at the end, we have destruction or annihilation or just things descending into chaos or non-existence. This is a natural part of life as well. It's something that's going to happen. This is the mode of ignorance governed by Lord Shiva. And then we have maintenance, mode of goodness, maintenance. This is the bulk of the work that we do in this world. Ideally, we're, maybe we do know people that, or we have heard of examples of people that are very passionate and start projects and don't really carry them out or don't really finish them and start another one and start another one. Ideally, we start something and we see it through. That's like this Krishna House project. It required, or ISKCON actually, in the beginning, it required so much push. Srila Prabhupada was not in the mode of passion, but there was definitely passion involved in the creation of this society that we have in the best way. there was a lot of do mentality. Like, we need to get this done as soon as possible. We need to spread this as far and wide as possible, as quickly as possible before Prabhupada leaves. And we did. We spread it very far and wide. And now we're in the maintenance phase. And so Prabhupada said at a certain point, we need to boil the milk. We need to maintain what we've created and make it sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. And that's what we're being called to do. So this is a little just introduction to that concept of how these modes play out in this kind of part of our lives. Anything without maintenance quickly turns into chaos or quickly is destroyed. I mean, I can think of so many examples, and I wanted to see if you guys could think of some examples of how this looks in our lives. What do we see when we're not maintaining things? And can you give an example of that? Mm-hmm. Laundry. Nice. Good example. Yeah, if we don't stay on top of our laundry, then it just piles up and piles up and piles up. And we have our floor as a dirty clothes basket. Anything else? Yana?
When we don't maintain ourselves, and we don't take care of ourselves.
Our health?
Self-care.
Yeah, health and wellness. Yeah, as soon as we stop going for walks or eating properly, quickly decline. Atana.
I guess like maintaining like relationships and like friendships.
Wow, that's a really good answer. Yeah, maintaining relationships. Yeah, if we stop talking to a friend, they might feel like we don't care about them. We might also lose the ability to connect with them, and then we see them a few years later and it's like, oh, who are you now? Yeah, wow. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? I was also thinking of just like a visual of a bird flying through the sky. In order to maintain that beautiful soaring, there has to be a flapping of the wings. As soon as the wings stop flapping for too long, we can take breaks, but as soon as they stop for too long, the descent will begin. I think somebody wanted to add something.
Paying bills.
Paying bills. Oh man, this material world. Okay, thank you for those examples. Yeah, so we're going to understand how to offer this maintenance of our lives, of the communities that we're in, and of Mother Bhumi's sacred space that she's offered to us. We're gonna talk more about how to do that throughout this class. Before we begin that topic, I want to take a look again at the verse. It says, "The personality of Godhead is always the benefactor of these surrendered souls." And so in the previous verse, Lord Brahma said, I am one of those surrendered souls who are very dear to the Lord. Now he's saying, you are always merciful to the surrendered souls. So I pray that I may not be materially affected by my works. Then I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. This comes by this kind of realization, this ability to humble ourselves and give up false prestige comes by the mercy of the Lord. And he gives that mercy when we surrender. What does it mean to be a surrendered soul? Another question that I want to share with you all. What does it mean to be surrendered? Do you have any thoughts, Prabhu?
What comes to my mind is the 6 symptoms of surrender. First thing is to accept anything which is favorable for Krishna's service and reject anything which is unfavorable. That's the first 2. And then there's other symptoms of someone who's surrendered.
Beautiful. Thank you. Does anyone else want to share? What does it mean to you?
Hare Krishna. Just trying to get out of the way and see what needs to be done without thinking about what I particularly want.
Without thinking about what I want, see what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Wow.
And keeping in mind like letting go and flowing, but also trying to realize what is going to be, helping the higher good.
Wow. So that is a little bit of a paradox, right? Letting go, but also contributing to the higher good. Where we're gonna touch on that actually. So thank you for introducing that. Does anyone else want to share anything? Cindy?
In the purport, Srila Prabhupada also mentions this, but if the Lord indicates a certain path or a certain better way of doing something, we don't be attached to what we want to do. We follow His orders, which is very difficult for most of us. We're not there.
Yeah,
Well,
we're working
he's
on
not.
it. I think you might be more there than you think you are. You're in this room right now. Okay, sorry.
Having faith
Having faith in what?
in what we're about to do.
Having faith in what we're about to do.
Yeah, like you might have ideas. You might have ideas, desires, and inclinations to act in a way that we think will be beneficial. So having faith in that it's going to work out. That's surrender.
Right. Especially if it's in line with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, right? Then we can really have faith that if what I want to do.
Yeah, some people, in some cases, it's also separate from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So surrender in general is just having faith. In general, it's a general statement.
Like a person who's not yet come to the path of following Krishna consciousness might feel the wind blow and decide to walk in that direction. So they need to have faith in that drive also to pursue this.
So yeah, everybody surrender something.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Thank you guys so much for those. Yeah, and in the last in the purport of the last verse, the last sentence says, "The surrendered soul knows nothing but the Lord, and therefore the Lord is very affectionate toward him." They know nothing but the Lord. And and in this purport, I think is that Lord Brahma wanted to remain in his actual position as an instrument of the Lord, instead of being puffed up by the false prestige of thinking himself the creator. So this phrase, being an instrument of the Lord, we also see this in Bhagavad Gita 11:33. The phrase is nimitta matram in Sanskrit, nimitta matram. And this means just be an instrument. These are words that were spoken by Krishna to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. I mean, the battlefield of Kurukshetra is a historical fact and an intricate analogy for the reality that each one of us face in this material world. We are being called to do so many things in this world where we have duties and we have desires and we have fears, and Krishna is guiding us, like, just be an instrument. He says to Arjuna, everything is already done by my arrangement. All you have to do is actually do the work. Sometimes I think about this when I'm on book distribution and I get a little bit nervous to talk to somebody, but I feel called to it for some reason. I just think about this verse and this principle that this person is going to come to Krishna by Krishna's arrangement at some point. I can either have a role in that or I cannot. And if I choose to have a role in that, then there's so much mercy that comes to me. And if I choose not to have a role in that, there's so much mercy to be had by whoever does. So, and then on Blake's point, Blake, you were talking about how we need to let go, but also we're trying to do what's good for the society, what's good for our Christian consciousness. So this is something that I hear Kalachans Prabhu express a lot, which is that we act as if everything depends on us and pray as if everything depends on Krishna. How do we do that? what does that mean? What does that look like? And so I'll bring it back to maintenance. Maintenance is kind of like I said, the bulk of what we're doing in this material world. We're in school when we're young and we're learning how to engage with the world around us. And then we get a little bit older, whether we want to be in the renounced order for the rest of our lives, or if we want to go into the Grihastha ashram, there's going to be some sort of maintenance, some work required. And it might not always look like sitting in a secluded place and chanting the holy name, or even studying Shastra all day for hours on end. You might have to clean toilets, or you might have to work a part-time or full-time job. We will have to engage with the world on the world's terms in order to maintain ourselves here for the time that we're here. And so maintenance, I have a few notes about maintenance. There's maintenance while offering all of the results of our activities to Krishna. This is one way that we can surrender ourselves through this maintenance of our lives. What does that mean to offer the results of our activities to Krishna? Does anyone have any thoughts of that? Narayana?
It means that we can have a certain integrity interactions and a peace of mind, because we can know that doing our best is enough, regardless if the money comes in or whatever the action is.
Beautiful. Anyone else have any thoughts? What does it mean to offer the results of our activities to Krishna?
Very cool. I guess it's easier when you have a success in something that you do, so it's easier to at least it's like the idea or just the result of the success. What I like to do is I like to say that this success was only possible by your mercy, Krishna. But if it's a failure, it's a little bit harder, but I'm still working on this. So in that, I'm trying to say in failure that this attempt to please you, Krishna, was only possible by your mercy. I didn't get the victory, so to say, but yeah, close enough.
Beautiful. Sundari?
That's actually Shanta's answer inspired me with regard to failure, because I have a lot of failures. I've learned now to kind of just think that that's actually, if I fail in something, then it wasn't meant to have the result that I desired. Krishna wanted this to happen in this way, and I benefited still by coming closer to Krishna through the process anyway. And also an obvious one is to actually give the money that you earn to Krishna, the spiritual master.
Practical, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kavi? And then we'll move on to the next one.
I think true success is being to lose something and not lament. Like Kalkanta Prabhu said, Winston Churchill, moving from one failure to the next without losing any enthusiasm.
Wow, that's a high level. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's maintenance while offering all results to Krishna. I'm looking at the time. For some reason, it goes by so fast. So I'm gonna tell you these other ones, and then we can turn them all at the same time. The next one that I thought was maintenance while knowing that nothing will manifest without Krishna's will. We kind of touched on this also throughout our discussion. And then maintenance while knowing that all material progress will be left behind, and only the purification we endured and the spiritual progress we made will remain. So this is kind of what you were referring to in your last point, Sundari, that even when we fail, even when something doesn't go the way we expected it to, we are purified by offering all of that to Krishna. And we make spiritual progress as well. We have realizations. It's surprising, but if we are practicing devotional life, we wake up early to chant our japa, we read Srimad Bhagavatam, then when we go to our 9-to-5 job or whatever mundane thing we think we're doing, we will turn realizations in those experiences. No matter what we're doing with our time, even if it seems completely disconnected from Krishna, we will either realize that this is a waste of time. Anything other than direct devotional service is a waste of time, but I have to do it anyways, dang. And that's a beautiful realization. Or we'll realize little things like, oh, I realized this about human nature and how it relates to why we're stuck in this material world, or how we can preach better, or things like this. So we are gaining so much through the everyday maintenance of ourselves in this world, whatever that looks like. And this comes really, like I said, when we have this strong sadhana in the morning, in the evening, hopefully we can constantly remember Krishna throughout our day. Even when we're doing something like taxes, where in the current moment, in that process, we're thinking about numbers. We're not necessarily chanting Hare Krishna during that time. We might be distracted if we were, and we might mess up some of the numbers. But we don't see it as separate somehow. This is a level that I'm not at, but I know that it's a thing because we hear about it in the scriptures, and we see examples of it walking among us. People that whatever they do, they know for a fact that it is completely connected to Krishna, without a doubt, and everything reminds them of Krishna. Like the example given that when a mother sees some tennis shoes, her little child's tennis shoes outside the door, she sees the tennis shoes, but she sees her child. She might remember him playing in those shoes. She might remember the one time he stepped in a mud puddle and she had to spend an hour getting the dirt out of the crease. She's fondly reminiscing. She sees her child. She's not just seeing the shoes. And so when we think of numbers, we can think of the numbers of Srimad Bhagavatam. There's so many. There's so much math of Srimad Bhagavatam. There's so many ways to think of Krishna, and a pure devotee comes to that platform of seeing, of knowing through and through that there's nothing separate from Krishna, and that nothing is moving outside of the desire of Krishna. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada reminds us that not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. When I first moved into the ashram, this was something that I just meditated on for a long time, and turning that. Anyways, I had like an experience of chanting japa and swaying like this, like I was a blade of grass. That was not necessary to include in class, but you're welcome. But this point that not a blade of grass can move without the will of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada's final words, the final words that he spoke before he left this realm that we're in, surrounded by devotees, could hardly bring air out of his lungs. His voice was so hard to hear that they had to get so close to hear what he was saying. This is his last instruction to us. He said, to see that everything is acting, moving by the supreme desire of Krishna. That consciousness is Krishna consciousness. This is the sum and substance of everything that Srila Prabhupada has given us. This is the meaning of our sadhana, of our reading, of our association with devotees. And this can be churned into a million other meanings. And that's what we hear. The Srimad Bhagavatam, it's like a blooming lotus. And at the core of this lotus is this principle teaching that everything, to see that everything is acting, moving by the supreme desire of Krishna. That consciousness is Krishna consciousness. What did Srila Prabhupada come to give us? Krishna consciousness. What is this movement about? Why are we here? We want to become Krishna conscious. This is how we do it. It's not a do. It's not the International Society for Krishna Activities. This can look so many ways. And sometimes people even turn away from Krishna. Sometimes people even have moments of falling down, or they don't participate in Krishna consciousness the way that we expect them to. And we might judge them externally, but we never know. We never know how much they've realized this point, that everything is acting and moving according to the supreme desire of Krishna. They might hold that in the very, very core of their hearts. So that's to say that we can never, ever, ever, ever judge any devotee based on externals, or any human being based on externals. And we don't need to judge ourselves based on externals. Everything that we're doing, the sadhana that we perform, is in itself powerful, and it is for the cultivation of this realization. Okay, so I think we're almost out of time. We have a few minutes left, and if anyone has any questions or comments on that point, or any point that was made during this class, I'd love to hear. Or corrections also.
I have a question. How do you keep up the momentum, or like the motivation to maintain? I speak of this as your roommate because you maintain quite well. I just wonder, what is it that actually keeps you joyful in that process?
Wow. Just the perfect quote came to mind by His Holiness Radhanath Swami. This is a quote that I have just meditated on so deeply. I hope that it speaks to your heart. He said, the austerity, or the strength to perform the austerity of enthusiasm comes from sincere chanting and attentive hearing. That quote just is so powerful, though, that combination of words, the strength to perform the austerity of enthusiasm. Sometimes being enthusiastic does not come naturally, and it really is an austerity. Sometimes raising your hands in Mangalarti feels like lifting a ton of bricks, or serving a scoop of rice. These things feel so hard to do because we're just lacking some level of enthusiasm. And it's true. It's not just in your mind or anyone's mind. This is something that happens. We're here. We're in these material bodies in this material world. And so it's been addressed that the strength to perform the austerity of enthusiasm comes from sincere chanting. So what is sincere chanting? Sincere chanting means I'm chanting from my heart. I'm chanting to come closer to Krishna. I'm chanting to be purified from my anarthas that have held me back for so many lifetimes. I'm chanting to be accepted by Krishna and to repair my broken relationship with him. This is sincere chanting and attentive hearing each syllable ringing in your ears, feeling it. There's a verse, it goes longer, but the translation, I think it was Rupa Goswami, or one of the Goswamis, right? Rupa Goswami? Okay, he said, when the holy name of the Lord is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many millions of mouths. When it enters into the holes of the ears, we desire many millions of ears. Jai Shri Shri Ganesh. And when that holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and all the senses become inert. This is sincere and attentive chanting. And so I've actually meditated on this verse sometimes it's hard to get the heart on board, and sometimes it's hard to get the ears on board. So I start sometimes when I meditate on this verse, I start with actually feeling the words in my mouth. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And it's not long before I hear them in my ears. And then I can meditate on both. and then they enter into my ears and they go into my heart. The only thing is that once it enters into your heart, don't get distracted by what you're feeling, because then we're more focused on feeling than chanting. So we continue with the feeling in our mouths and hearing in our ears, and this is how we can chant. We can hear attentively. So yeah, these powerful tools will help us perform the austerity of enthusiasm. Thanks for letting me churn that. It's been a while since I remembered that. Well, I guess it's probably time. So thank you guys so much for being here and for being merciful.